Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be transforming into Barbie, and the first thing that I'm doing to prep my skin is using the Stay Glow Drops in the shade Star Glow. And then I'm going in with the Glowish Blur Jam Primer. I really love this stuff because it just kind of softens any lines on the skin and also blurs your pores and makes you look really flawless. I'm going to do a little bit of underpainting before I go in with my foundation, so I'm using the Westman Atelier Face Cream Contour Stick in the shade Truffle. Any contour stick that you prefer or have is fine for this step, but this one I've really been loving. It's a little bit more expensive, but definitely worth the splurge. I do have some others though that I keep in my rotation when I'm not using this one. Now taking some MAC Fix Plus spray on a blending brush. This is a stippling brush from MAC, but you can use any blending brush that you prefer for this step, or even your beauty blender, of course. And I'm just blending that out until everything is seamless and smooth and there are no more harsh lines. Underpainting for me before going in with my foundation is really important when I want a very flawless contour application. It just makes the contour look more natural and the blend is just more seamless because we're doing a lot of the work prior to actually applying the foundation rather than it sitting on top of our foundation. And because you're creating that bone structure or emphasizing it beforehand, it just looks even more natural. Now I'm going in with the NARS Light Reflecting Under Eye Brightener. This is in the shade Golden Eye, and I'm applying that before I put on concealer because this just allows me to look more awake and kind of cancel out those dark circles that I have. And I just feel like it just adds a really nice brightness as well. And with a damp beauty blender sponge, I'm just blending that out. Now taking the Armani Luminous Silk Foundation, I'm just going to apply that over top of the work that we just did. This is such a good foundation, however, I made a little bit of a mistake here and used a bottle that I had in my possession for some time now, and I believe it oxidized a bit, and it also kind of changed the formula, which made it bring out some more texture on my skin. So it didn't make the makeup application as flawless as it normally would have been, but I did my best to kind of correct that as I continued doing my makeup so that I could make it work. Now I'm going in with my concealer. This is the Makeup Forever HD concealer in the shade 20. However, recently they have reformulated and repackaged these, so the shade range is different now. I picked up shade 1.5 during the sale, which is going on right now, but I'm not exactly sure if it's a similar match to this one or not. It looked like it was online. I usually pick a pretty light shade in this concealer because I like that brightening effect, but I love the way that it wears and it feels very lightweight even though it has good coverage, and also the fact that it was much lighter than the foundation kind of allowed me to balance everything back out again. To prep my eyes for shadow, I'm going in with the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. You can also use a concealer for this step. You can see that I'm also moving my lashes to the side because my lash extensions were getting in the way, and I was trying to get close to the lash line without getting product on the lashes. I felt like my under eyes needed a little bit more coverage, so I went in with the Makeup by Mario concealer in the shade 200. This is a much more medium toned concealer than the Makeup Forever one. Next, I'm taking the Patrick Ta Contour Duo in the shade She's Sculpted. I decided to go in with a powder contour on top of everything, even though we did do the underpainting, because I feel like it just gives it a more dramatic contour, and since we're doing Barbie, I wanted a very full coverage look, and it also allows everything to last much longer throughout the day because we're setting it with powder. Now taking my powder puff and the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Powder in the shade One Fair, I'm just setting underneath my eyes as well as the rest of the face so that it prevents any creasing. I'm also setting my lids so that when I go in with eyeshadow, it just blends out more seamlessly. After going in with a pressed powder, I like to set underneath my eyes again with a translucent powder. This is the Huda Beauty in the shade Cupcake. Because my skin leans more on the normal to dry side, I don't like to bake, so I just take my brush and press that in and then gently sweep it away. If you have more oily skin, then you can let it bake for longer. Before going in with brow product, I like to brush my eyebrows up with a spoolie just to make sure they're in place and neat. And then I go in with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Powder Duo in the shade Taupe. I know brows can be a very personal thing because we all have different brows, and there are also many different ways to fill in your brows as well as styles and preferences. So do whatever you feel is best for your brow routine. I like to use a powder like this one because I feel like it just gives a nice soft natural brow, and my brows are already pretty full, so a brow powder just allows me to fill in my brows without being too harsh for my preference. Now I'm carving out underneath my brows with a NARS concealer and cleaning them up, which also allows the brows to look more lifted. And using any leftover product, I'm just kind of going above the brow, but I don't place too much product up there. Mostly I just keep it underneath. Next, I'm taking the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude eyeshadow palette, and I'm going in with the shade Fair and Mesh for my crease shade. And I'm just going to, in circular motions, blend that out. And then once I've kind of laid down the product and did circular motions, I'll start doing more sweeping motions. When you get to the outer corner of your eye, you want your hand to be almost at the very, very end of your brush so that you're lightly applying the least amount of pressure possible for a more seamless blend on the outer corner. And now taking the shade Wit, I'm applying that into my crease as well. The more you work from light to dark and layer your shadows, the more seamless that they will blend and look in the end. For a nice neutral bright lid color, I am applying the shade Fair all over my lid with a flat brush. To further define my outer corners, I'm taking the shade Vague and Wit and applying that just on the outer corner of my eye. First, I lay the product down in patting motions, and then I sweep it just lightly, not all the way across, but just so it stays in that outer corner area. And for a soft brow bone highlight, I'm going in with the shade Fair again. I was so excited to try out the Patrick Ta Major Holiday Face Palette for this video. It is the perfect Barbie pink palette. I decided I wanted to use the blush on my eyes to make everything more pink, so I just swept the lighter shade across my lid and put the darker one in the outer corner. And then I decided to blend the same shades that we put in our crease underneath the eye so that it tied everything together. For the liner in this look, I wanted to keep it very soft, so I feel the best way to do that is to use an eyeshadow, and using this shade Silhouette and the I Need a Nude palette, I just created a soft wing and then also defined underneath my eyes. To highlight my inner corner, I used the Dior Backstage Glow Face palette in the shade Universal. And to contour my nose, I am using a small blending brush and the same Patrick Ta contour powder that I used for my face contour. For a fuller lip look, I also applied contour around my lips as well, and then used that same Dior Glow highlighter palette to highlight my Cupid's bow as well as the tip and bridge of my nose. Using a damp beauty blender to apply a highlight on the cheeks will also allow the highlighter to kind of melt into the skin and look more seamless. For a more doll-like appearance, I recommend applying a nude or white eyeliner to your lower waterline and then applying some lower lash mascara. Going back in with that Patrick Ta palette, I'm using the shades Giving I Need Her and Giving Main Character for my blush, and then I did the technique that he recommends, which is applying the cream over top of the powder, and I used the shade Giving I Need Her just a little bit on top of the powder blush that I already applied. For my lips, I'm using a pinky lip liner. This is the shade Morphe Sweetest Tea, not to be confused with Sweet Tea, which is a cult favorite. I absolutely love Sweet Tea, but that is more of like a brownie perfect nude, whereas this is a more pinky color. And I'm just defining my Cupid's bow and also shading the outer corners of my lips. For lipstick, I'm applying the Urban Decay lipstick in the shade Art Walk. This is kind of a matte lipstick, but it's not too matte or drying. It feels really nice on the lips. You can use whatever pinky shade that you prefer. And then I went in with the Patrick Ta Holiday Collection Headliner Lip Gloss. To set my face, I used the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Dewy Setting Spray. This is good for dry skin, but if you have more oily skin, I recommend something like the Charlotte Tilbury. I decided I didn't want my lips as glossy for this look, so I blotted them on a tissue. I found this super cute heart-shaped pink bag on Fashion Nova, as well as this necklace that I thought reminded me so much of the vintage Chanel that Margot Robbie was actually wearing in the movie. She also had a pink heart-shaped Chanel bag and a dress kind of similar to this one, and the pink feathered shoes as well. So all of these things I found on Fashion Nova, and I thought that they were really cute. And even though this was more of a Barbie inspired look rather than an exact Margot Robbie look from the movie, it just reminded me so much of her Barbie outfit she had on, and I thought it was super cute. Another really fun Barbie inspired outfit idea was this Barbie pink bodysuit that I found on Fashion Nova, along with this heart-shaped necklace and these shoes. They just reminded me of doll shoes, so I thought that that was really cool. And I paired everything with the Wolford Neon 40 tights because they give a shiny look to the legs, which gives a more doll-like leg appearance. The wig that I used for this video is the JB Extensions Blonde Straight Wig in Leona. If you want a more exact Barbie hair look, I recommend using a more yellowy blonde, but I went with an ashier blonde because I do have more olive in my skin tone, so ash blonde works better for my complexion. And I also did a darker root just because I think it looks more natural on me. However, if you wanted to look more like the normal Barbie look, then I would go for a yellowy blonde with blonde all the way to the roots, as well as something with a little bit more volume in it and curl maybe. Whereas I did kind of a modern day take on Barbie, which is a fun option as well. So I went with the pin straight hair, and I still loved the way that it came out. The colored contacts that I'm wearing are Solotica Allegria Gray. Even though they're gray, they give kind of a bluish hue, and I just felt like it tied the entire look together. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys are going to be for Halloween, or if you chose to be Barbie this year. And make sure to turn on that notification bell to get notified anytime I upload a new video, as well as subscribe and join the family. I hope to see you in my next one. Bye.